Ever notice how life's best stories don't happen in your living room? They happen on the open road, out on the water, or parked under the stars. At Progressive, they get that you want to focus on the experience, not worry about the what-ifs. That's why they offer quality insurance designed for your ride, whether that's a boat, RV, or motorcycle. Adventure with confidence. Visit Progressive.com and see how easy it is to protect your favorite way to get away. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in D.C. Prices vary based on how you buy.
What a season. And now we can fuck off forever.
As the prophecy foretold.
Sup, nerds? It's basketball. Welcome to Horse, a basketball podcast about everything except for the wins and losses. My name is Mike Schubert, and I'm joined by my trusted co-host, my beloved New York Knicks winning the 2025 NBA Cup, to my beloved New York Knicks winning the 2026 NBA Finals. It's Adam Amwalad. How's it going?
It's going great. I'm thrilled for you. I'm thrilled for the city. I'm thrilled for all of the people that this means so much to, as Mike takes a sip out of his Knicks Yeti. I was getting emotional, so I can only imagine the experience that you had and that so many other people had. But as I think it was Scott Van Pelt once said, sports are better than everything always.
It's good stuff. It just really... Specifically for New York and the Knicks, it just unified the city so much. It's the city's team. Yes, there is another team, technically. Allegedly.
The Liberty
legally.
you're talking about, of course.
Yes, I am. But gosh, it is just been so cool to see the unity behind the Knicks. It's like I always knew as a Knicks fan and as a New Yorker that like the city would lose its mind, but just to see like the scale to which it is absurd. Yes. Like I went to a big watch party for the final game with I'm bad at guessing like crowd size, but I would guess like 1,000 people, maybe.
Yeah.
Like just a whole lot. And that was one of probably 100 that happened across the city.
Right.
Like,
not to mention all of the, a buddy of mine made the point. He's like, if you're upset about any watch parties being canceled, like the entire city is a watch party right now.
That was the thing.
Like I projected it on a brick wall of an apartment building next door, and then the West Village turned into like a kind of unsanctioned impromptu party with thousands of people gathering. I mean, there was nowhere you could go in the city without hearing people talk about the Knicks, be excited about the Knicks, wearing Knicks stuff, watching the game while it was on. Like the entire city was just Knicks.
It's so much so, and even today, I'm walking around New York City doing a whole bunch of stuff. Anytime I see people wearing merch from another New York team, like I saw a guy wearing a Mets hat, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, take that shit off. We've got a job to do here.
In fairness, I do think there was a Mets game today, but no, I still understand.
It's just like, anytime...
I would have worn Knicks stuff to a Mets game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
right.
If anyone... talks to me about, and we're recording this one on June 14th, like we won yesterday.
Yeah.
If anyone talks to me about anything besides the Knicks, like if anyone asks me how the weather is, shut the fuck up. Like there's better small talk to be had right now. It is so cool. Like just to see how it is in the city. Obviously all of the cool feelings of just like being a Knicks fan for so long and just really sitting through some rough starting lineups featuring Jason Smith and Lance Thomas and Ignas Brazdeikis and Mindaugas Kuzminskis and Kadeem Allen and Chasen Randall, like just all of these names that, yes, those are all people who actually played for the Knicks. That's like one thing, but it's also just so delightful to see a whole city unified, just people of all different like ages, races, walks of life, intensity of fandom. And then I just know like plenty of people who don't really care about sports, don't really care about basketball, just who live in New York who are just like caught up in it and excited. And then also specifically with this podcast, I've been getting so many comments and messages, which all like bring a tear to my eye, where there's lots of people like, I didn't care about sports at all or basketball specifically, but there's a lot of people who are like either I was just rooting for the Knicks, or when I heard the Knicks are doing well, it's all because of you and I just know you'd be happy. And then other people, like to the next level, people who are like, I am a Knicks fan because of you. Like I'm actively invested in this team because of you.
Right.
And now it's really cool that we won. And it's so cool.
And you've kind of touched on the core of what this specific podcast was supposed to be, which is like you had this, I would say self-described nerd fan base, a lot of whom are not or were not into sports. You love sports, and you were like, how do I bridge that divide and, introduce sports in a way that is maybe more consumable, or people can understand that it's more than just what happens on the court or on the field. There's so much else that happens. And funny enough, I think this Knicks team is a perfect example of that exact ethos, right? Like
it really
if
is.
somebody made a movie where you had three guys who played in college together, won a championship, then all got assembled onto the same NBA team, won a championship against all odds, coming back from down 29 in a final, like so much of what has happened over the past 2 months seems like it can't be real. Like you wouldn't believe it if it were written, and yet it is. I mean, the Knicks, they lost 3 games the entire playoffs. They won 9 consecutive road games. They were down by 10 points or more in every game of the finals.
Right
I saw
where we
an
want
amazing
them.
stat that the Spurs led for 72% of the series and won 1 out of the 5 games. Like it's just hard to put into words. And the truth is, like, the Knicks very well may win again. And I'm sure there will be other New York championships in our lifetimes. I don't know that anything will be quite like this.
No, nothing will capture it. It's just been such a unique one, given that it's been so long since the Knicks have won. All of the games were so intense. Even this game, it was so intense, and it came down to like the last minute, and it was so dramatic that like it was weird when it sunk in. Like I didn't have time to do the thing where it's like, oh my God, we're going to win, because like it wasn't until it hit 0 on the time that it was like, oh, we did win. So it was just like a really weird rush of
I think
emotion.
a lot of people are kind of in that mode, and it'll take a while for it to sink in the best possible way. But even like seeing, I actually walked past the Garden today and I tried to take a photo, but it kind of flashed by too quickly. But on the kind of rotating digital display, it said 2026 NBA champions, and it was just a photo of all the Knicks. And I was like, just that image, like if I were to take that and show it to you a year ago, or especially 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you'd be like, that's not real.
Right. Like, oh, what movie is this from? Like this alternate reality, this fiction production.
Yeah. And I think that, to shoehorn in an early baseball reference, I think part of what I enjoyed so much about being there secondhand for all of this is like what you're experiencing now, and so many of my Knicks fan friends are experiencing now, is exactly what I got to experience in 2016, where you're hearing from people that like you maybe haven't talked to since high school, or you didn't even know that they knew how huge of a fan you were, and people just reaching out being like, I'm so happy for you. Like all of the pain and suffering and long hours watching terrible teams has finally paid off. And you'll get this for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like we're going to talk about it, and we already have a bit on the Patreon, but to share this experience, in part with Kelly, in part with your daughter, to have your dad fly out and attend Game 4, which, as it turns out, will go down in finals history and NBA history as one of the greatest games. Yeah, I mean, certainly, like the first half kind of shitty, but then based on how it finished, easily a top 5 finals game ever. It's like nothing in your life will be the same after this. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like a formative thing. And what I hope for you is that it's the same thing that I experienced after the Cubs finally won, which is like, you still care just as much. Like next year and the subsequent years, you'll still really want this team to win, and you'll love them just as much as you always have, but the losses won't hurt as much. And that's my favorite part. Because they did it. They did it.
I think that's probably also contributing to why it like hasn't 100% fully sunk in. Like obviously I was so happy in the moment. I was so happy and euphoric, but there were parts last night where I was like, why don't I feel happier? And I think I'm just still so stressed that I'm coming out of it. Like because I knew the pressure was on. Like it feels like the window was this season. Like I was talking with David Jacoby today, who's a ESPN The Ringer guy, and he's a big Knicks fan, and he made the really good point for all of the past 4 teams that won the finals. Every team that won, it was like, oh, the league is fucked for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
The Nuggets, it was like, oh, fucked. The Celtics, oh, fucked. The Thunder, oh, fucked. I don't even know who was before the Nuggets. Was it the Warriors? I guess not the Warriors. So maybe the past 3.
Yeah.
But everyone's like, oh my God. And then with the Knicks, nobody's like, oh, it's the Knicks time. Like nobody.
I guess
is
not,
thinking,
but I think it would be hard to watch the run that they just went on and think that they couldn't go on another deep run next year.
Right. I think the thing is just everyone is going to think like, well, the Spurs are going to get better. The Thunder had injuries, and I think that's like the main concern of it. And like the Celtics will be back, but like no one's worried like, oh, the Knicks are going to win the next 5 titles, and that's been the case for the past couple of champions. Yeah. So it was just like this. I felt just so much pressure because it was just like, it has to be this. Like, it has to be this.
Well, as you said in our preview episode with Ginger Spurs Boy, and our condolences to him, I believe your exact words were, just let us win one and then we'll fuck off forever.
We really will. We absolutely will. We're going to ride this high. I will refer to the Knicks as the 2026. I got to figure out exactly how I want to say, because I do think winning the cup is funny. But I might say like the 2026 double champion New York Knicks. Like, I think I'm going to call them the 2026 double champion New York Knicks for the rest of my life. And even if we don't win again, it is completely fine. If it takes us another 53 years and I'm an old man, whatever. But yeah, like it's so cool. Being in New York for this is so cool. Like, I'm trying to soak this in as much as possible, because I know like this is going to be the thing when I'm older and people are like, what? Like, you lived in New York when that happened. You went to game 4. Your dad flew in for games 4 and 5. Like, you did all the stuff. Like, it's going to be a no freaking way. And it's very, very cool. But yeah, like you were saying with the roster, I think the thesis of this podcast like has come to fruition with this specific Knicks team, because you don't have to care about the sport to want this particular team to win. Like, just going through the roster as they're listed on ESPN, Jose Alvarado, the Puerto Rican New Yorker who grew up a Knicks fan, winning a title with his hometown team. Yep. OG Anunoby, a guy who was traded from a team that won a championship, but he had appendicitis and couldn't play for that entire championship. Traded because they thought he was injury prone and not good enough offensively, not getting hurt and being incredibly offensively. Mikal Bridges, who everyone said 5 picks was too much for. Fuck them picks. Jalen Brunson, who's been doubted his entire career for being too short or not fast enough or every excuse you can come up with.
Bad day to be Becky Hammond.
Yep. Oh, I'm excited to see what she has to say. Jordan Clarkson, just like said never could get it done, too flashy, cares about the points, whatever. Pacome Dadier, this French draft pick that people thought was a waste of a pick from us. Same with Mo Diawara. Josh Hart, just someone who was slept on. Oh, he's too small. He can't shoot threes. He's not right for the moment. Huck Porty, this center who is just like, oh no, he actually has to play because of Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns, and like, he had a huge play in game 5 of the finals. You've got our close personal friend Tyler Kolek, who was almost traded this offseason because it was like, do we really need him? Deuce McBride signed this like very small contract because there was like no belief, and then he started outplaying his mind. Mitchell Robinson, just, he's never going to be healthy. He's never going to play. He can't shoot free throws. He can't do anything. Jeremy Sohan was literally on the other team that we played. They waived him, so they said, we don't care. Go join any team, whatever. Joins our team, contributes. And then Karl Anthony Towns, just someone who was like high draft pick, high number 1 pick, touted prospect, had some good stuff, really good shooting, but it was always like, is he a good stats, bad team guy? He can't get it done in the playoffs. He can't defend. Oh, what does he do? He gets it done in the playoffs with defense. Like, it's just
right. The specific
story
way
of everyone.
The specific way that everybody turned what was their perceived weakness into a strength in these playoffs.
Even Mike Brown. Mike Brown's whole thing was like, good regular season coach, and when he gets to the playoffs, he can't come up with the schemes.
Right.
And you know what? He was kind of a confusing and struggling regular season coach, and then the first 3 games of the playoffs, it wasn't looking great, and then he just chess masterminded the rest of the series, because like it's not like we played the same type of team from there on out. Like all 4 teams we played were very different and had very different strengths, and he just figured it out. And people doing rotations. I'd even say Landry Shamet, who has been like doubted by every team he's been on as like he should work. What's going on? Even like he almost didn't make the Knicks this season. He had to fight for that last roster spot against Malcolm Brogdon. Then he had a weird shoulder injury throughout the year. Like, the storyline.
Well, and you can go down the list and think of a moment for almost all of those guys. I mean, maybe less so for like a Tyler Kolek, but Shamet, the Knicks do not come back against the Cavs in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals without him. As much as Mitchell Robinson struggled both on the court and seemingly like with his mental health at times, he got the biggest offensive rebound in the history of the Knicks franchise. Well, I'll call it a tie with the offensive rebound of tipping the ball in from OG Anunoby. Just these huge moments. And the other thing is, yes, it was an amazing run, but not everything went perfectly, right? Like we talked on the Patreon episode a lot about like Josh Hart made some huge blunders at the end of Game 4 that could have really turned his life around negatively. I mean, people talk about Nick Anderson missing those free throws, and his career was never the same when the Magic played the Rockets way back when. So the ability of these guys to pick each other up, the fact that they were able to lean on the relationships that they have, especially the 3 Nova guys, and also, yes, now the Knicks in Roman numeral 5V shirt very much in play. It's just remarkable, and there's a reason that the entire country, frankly, including a lot of parts of Texas who aren't San Antonio, were rooting for the Knicks. Is not only that they hadn't done it in 53 years, but this was a incredibly likable team. There's really not anyone or anything to dislike about the Knicks.
No, and there's so many players in particular that were just like doubted. Jalen Brunson doubted, Mikal Bridges doubted, Karl-Anthony Towns doubted. And what's wild about this team is that it was all built by Leon Rose and William Wesley, who it was like all moves. None of these guys, like Mitchell Robinson, we did draft years and years ago, but that was before these guys took over.
None of the starting 5 are drafted by the Knicks.
No, and a lot of them are low draft picks, aside from Karl-Anthony Towns. Like everybody was just put together with these like slow and steady moves, smart trade here, smart free agent signing here, all this kind of stuff, little by little. And now that we've won the title, you can say with confidence that Leon Rose made 0 bad decisions. Like the only ones that were up for grabs at this point was the Cat trade, the Mikal trade, and the firing of Tom Thibodeau and the hiring of Mike Brown. Everything else was like a slam dunk home run. Like looking back, the Josh Hart trade is an absolute steal. The OG Anunoby trade is looking much more promising on our end than on the end of the Raptors. All these other trades, the Deuce McBride signing, all these things, the Jalen Brunson signing is obviously a huge success, probably the greatest free agent signing in any basketball ever. But so you've got all that. The only things up for debate was, do we give up too many picks for Mikal Bridges? Was the Cat trade bad because he makes a lot of money and he wasn't a perfect fit and blah, blah, blah? And was firing Tibbs a mistake? And now that we have the title, absolutely not. So Leon Rose, 0 misses since taking over the team in 2020.
I also think that even if you look at the Tibbs hiring and subsequent firing, like, I think this team learned a lot from Tibbs, and I think Tibbs deserves a lot of credit. And I think that maybe they don't get where they go this year.
Ring.
Yeah, maybe they don't get where they go this year without that foundation of toughness that he laid out for them. So it's just one of those things where everything kind of fell into place in so many different ways. Not only the team that was assembled, the matchups that they had, the way the games went individually, and also like at a certain point, it's not a fluke anymore. When a team wins that many close games and shows time and time again that they're able to come back, it's not because it's a coin flip. It's because in the big moments, they are able to stay composed, and a young team like the Spurs were not. And of course, we're going to break all of that down, but we learned a lot about the Spurs and some things that we didn't like. I think the overall opinion of Wemby has changed a lot in the past 2 weeks.
That really is disappointing. That is really disappointing. We obviously got to get into that, given that we are the non-sport thing. To tie the clean bow on the Knicks before going into some of the Spurs stuff, I think what was very fun is that there was this meme going around about the power of friendship, where it was something where it was like, who's the matchup in this finals? And it was the Spurs, and it was like, unanimous defensive player of the year, number 2 overall pick, number 4 overall pick, rookie of the year, and then all like in a big list. And then on the Knicks, it was like the power of friendship. And honestly, what is allows a team to come back from this? Kelly asked me after the Game 2 watch party. She was like, why are the Knicks good at this and the Spurs look so scared? And part of it, I think, is veteran experience, but it's not like all the Knicks are like old grizzled vets. Like you've got guys with playoff experience, but it's not like, you know.
No, Knicks only have 2 players over 30.
Right. It's not like they've, you know, these people have won it multiple times or anything like that. But the power of friendship, like it's really the belief. And you and I have talked about this with our softball teams. Like we have teams that are less talented than teams we've been on, but perform so much better because of the power of friendship. Like some of our lawyer teams are way worse on paper than some of the other co-ed teams that we had with the dog pound. But the power of friendship is so strong. And in a comeback situation, you need the power of friendship. And it's very cool to see the power of friendship prevail.
Yeah. And I think this is a perfect transition to say that last night there was a different teal locker room that was covered in champagne, but not the teal memorial locker room. I'm just talking about some of the colors of the San Antonio locker room, I presume.
Yes. Yeah, this is the longest we've ever gotten in without doing the intro stuff, which I think makes sense for this landmark episode. Yeah, let's go through that quickly so we can get back to it. Teal memorial locker room covered in champagne and yet still perfectly clean. Perfectly clean. You know who's also on cloud nine like me?
I would say it's our patrons, with the exception of Ginger Spurs Boy
and Salvatore Testa, who's a Cicerus fan.
Yes, also they may not be on cloud moon right now, but everybody else very happy on your behalf or their own behalf. And we also have a new patron in the mix.
Yeah, shout out to Shyman5819. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks to all of our producer level patrons: Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, and Reed. Steph Curry got a $400 million shoe deal.
Yes, he did. And it was
Leaning.
a kind of, how do you say it?
Leaning, I think, right? Isn't that?
I assume so, yeah. It's a Chinese shoe brand, and he got a bag for sure. And also Bang.
Chase Hundrulu, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby is a vampire, Chelsea's cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Rip, Balls to the Walls, Mott's Forley, who I know was very much invested in the Knicks, shout out Mott's, Utah Jash, and Dairy Bird. Yes. And no sponsor this one, but if you're listening on Patreon, we will continue. And also, we're going to put the video up for this one. If you want to just like see Mike's jubilation, check out the video Patreon. And we also have the Patreon like other breakdown ones if you want us to get really into the basketball and some other stuff, and my harrowing tale of how I got tickets to Game 4, which took like 15 minutes.
And we put that up for everyone on Patreon. That's not even
that one's just free. That one's just free. The Game 1 one is for patrons. The other one is just free. If you ever wanted to see what that's like as a little like preview test drive, check it out. So we'll put the link in the description.
Yeah, we're gonna forego an NBQ&A for today because there is so much for us to talk about. Right. But we will get back to them once we're back into normal land. But we're in abnormal and awesome land right now.
Abnormal and awesome land. But yes, if you're listening not on Patreon, we'll take a quick break here for inserted ads. Patreon will keep it going, and we'll talk in a sec. All right, Adam, what do you got going on?
All right, same stuff as last episode, but there's a couple new things going on. So the next date that I have headlining is at the DC Improv in Washington, D.C. That is on Wednesday, July 29th. I will be in Montreal, up in Canada. That is August 14th and 15th. I'll be in Easton, Pennsylvania on September 12th. Looking very promising for Atlanta. So who do we have that's in Atlanta? I know someone's been inquiring about that. Is that?
Oh, Eileen
Gazesh, yes. So Eileen and other Atlanta people. That's going to probably be Thursday, October 15th. And then Philadelphia on November 7th, which is a Saturday. Looking to go back to Bozeman, Montana as well. And I'm sure I'll be adding some other stuff too. But yeah, that's what I got. What about you?
I've got the same stuff. I've got the show in Brooklyn on August 15th. If you want to hear, I will still be riding this high. Are you kidding me? Oh, my goodness.
Well, I asked you what sort of stuff you'd be wearing. Now I'm especially curious about the Philly show.
I mean, I'm currently trying to purchase a lot of Knicks champion stuff, but it's all sold out. Like I tried to buy stuff this afternoon. We won yesterday, and it's all sold out.
Wow.
Like Some things are pre-orders, but they're kind of ugly. I am going to the NBA store tomorrow. I have a friend who works for the NBA, and he's inviting me to like tour the office, and the office is above the NBA store.
Cool.
So after our meeting, I'm going to try and buy some stuff.
Maybe you could get like a Villanova Brunson jersey and then split the difference. Wear that in Philly.
I don't want to spend money on that.
Fair enough.
I don't care about Villanova. If someone wants to, look, I don't know if I need to make. We'll see. We'll see. There's. I have said like I'm not wearing anything that isn't Knicks branded for like the next month. Like I'm only wearing Knicks stuff in New York City. I just keep. I got enough to get through a laundry cycle. Let's just keep it rocking. But yeah, I got the Brooklyn show August 15th, and then got the Philly show the 27th of September, and then the Boston show the 20th of September. You best believe I'm wearing New York stuff to the Boston show, probably to the Philly show.
Yeah.
But look, I'm going to be talking my shit the rest of the time I have on this earth. Yeah. But this season in particular, especially before the next season starts, catch me wearing as many championship things as I can.
Well,
and you get tickets to the shows at thenewsomebody.com.
Yeah, and breaking news as of today, I also own a Knicks shirt. Celia bought me one without telling me, which was nice of her and also a little presumptuous, but mostly nice. And I put it on today, and it felt weird. But you know what? If there's any day to have some Knicks pride, I was happy to wear it, be part of it. And I'm never going to abandon my Chicago teams, but I have lived in New York City longer than I ever lived in Illinois. So I guess there's that.
I think it's good to have. I fully subscribe to the. If your team is really, really bad, you should be able to have a team that you like. And I think if you're living in another city with a team that's doing well and you want the city to be fun and you want your friends to be happy, that's legit. Like we texted about this today, but when the Knicks were like truly horrendous, like 17-65, I was living in Oakland and it was the Warriors' first title run. And I just like fully got invested and it was really fun. I liked that team before when they almost beat the Spurs that one year. So I just like locked in for that. And then once they got KD and they were not fun, I was like, okay, this has been fun. But I think everyone is allowed to root for a team that is actually good when your team is ass.
Yeah, and also not to, gatekeep. I don't mind any bandwagon people, but I also know basketball more than a hell of a lot of people who were all about the Knicks the past couple months. So from that perspective, I feel like I was really appreciating just how miraculous all of it was. To be like, yeah, this isn't normal. Like to people who are just watching basketball over the past couple months and being like, oh, look at what the Knicks are doing. It's like, yeah, this has kind of never been done before in this exact way. So
all those stats where it's like only one team, like 1 in 600, whatever, like the Knicks are the one for all those things. Roger Sherman, who will be on a future episode of us, posted that the Knicks now own the number 1, number 3, and number 5 greatest comeback by number of points overcome comebacks in finals history. And it was all from this finals. Like
so
from
29,
these 5 games.
22, and then what was the other one?
I think like probably one of the ones that was like 16 or 18 or something like that.
Incredible. Unbelievable.
Insane.
All right, so shall we get into full court press? Get it like the news?
Yeah. The Knicks won the title.
Yes, I do.
We'll keep it going.
Real quick.
Sure.
This episode's gonna be 99.8% joy and jubilation. There was a very sad bit of news that I want to touch on very briefly, that we can touch on more in a future episode.
Of course, we need to. We absolutely need
to. Bulls former player, who won 3 championships in the early 90s, and incredible broadcaster Stacey King passed away very suddenly and tragically at the age of 59. This was about a week and a half ago. If you heard the episode we did with Adam Amin, obviously he talked a lot about his relationship with Stacey on that episode. I'll share the link to both that episode and the one where Mike and I did my favorite Stacey King calls. He did his favorite Walt Clyde Frazier calls. So just a really, really sad thing. And I think the greatest compliment anyone could give Stacey King in terms of his broadcasting was he made watching a horrible Bulls team worth watching just because of his energy and passion, the relationship that he had first with Neil Funk, then with Adam Amin. So I'm very sad. It has not like quite sunk in that when I start watching Bulls games next year, he's not going to be there. It will be enormous shoes to fill, literally and figuratively. He was quite a tall man.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, just very, very, very sad news, and someone who I just kind of, I don't want to say you take it for granted, but you just kind of know he's not going anywhere. Like in the sense that no one was going to take that job from him. Like he was so beloved by the fan base and by the organization that he was going to have that job for as long as he wanted it. And yeah, it's a big loss. And I also feel sad that he didn't get to see this team turn it around, because he was there through so many shitty times. He did get to experience the Derrick Rose era, and honestly, he was a big part of what made that era so hype, was like his calls. And yeah, so it's a tough one. You broke the news to me, and I couldn't even believe it. So
yeah,
R.I.P. Stacey King.
Yeah, we'll I'm sure do a future segment paying even more homage to him, because he's an absolute legend. Gone way too soon.
Absolutely. But let's get into the happy stuff. So I think actually the best way to do it, I know we've done it on Patreon, but we can either do like kind of a quick recap of how the series went, or just get really into the drama of it all, because I feel like there was so much drama.
I think just drama.
Okay.
I think, let's see, game one, the big drama was just that the Knicks won. Like, came back and we won. And I'm trying to remember. Yeah.
Well, the way that game ended was it was like three separate runs, where like the Knicks went on this run, maybe like an 8-0 or 9-0 run. They took the lead. Then the Spurs went on a run. They retook the lead. And then the Knicks scored the final, I think, 11 points of the game and won by 10. So it was very much like a back and forth thing. But again, I think the Knicks, I want to say we're down by like 14 points in that one. And I know that because I was watching with a friend of mine, Freddie, who had an extra Knicks hat and put it on my head during the time when the Knicks were losing by the most, and then the Knicks went on to win. And I was told that I had to continue wearing the hat during Knicks games until they lost. So I did wear it on my head watching game 2 in Wisconsin. I had it on my head the whole game, and it worked. So I wore it for game 3, at which point the magic ran out, at least of the hat, not of the Knicks.
Game 2, the big thing was the officiating was really bad.
Yes.
It was really bad. The game 1 officiating was phenomenal. That was the big takeaway, was like, what a well-officiated game. That's so great.
Right. If only that could have been the case.
Wish it would have persisted. Yeah. Game 2, it really felt like the Spurs were selected by the NBA to try and even the series. And there were just all of these like weird calls going on, and ticky-tack calls here and there. And it just made the game very frustrating. People are in foul trouble. I watched this one at the MSG watch party. So even though the game was in San Antonio, MSG had no concert that night. So you could get tickets and watch the game on the Jumbotron with 19,000 of your closest friends.
Yeah.
And Kelly was able to make it for the second half, which was very cool. And we had a great time together, because the game ended after the Knicks make this run to come back. The game ended with this dramatic situation where Wemby has this kind of boneheaded move of passing it to Stephon Castle too late, goes off his back. Jalen Brunson has a heads-up play to pick it up, and then gets fouled by Wemby, makes the free throws. They're up by 1. Wemby
makes only one free throw,
makes
which
only
is
one.
Crucial.
Yeah, Wemby has a shot for a game winner, misses it. So that was like, Knicks are up 2-0. Holy crap. Game 3, you get all the Trump drama, which was terrible. People had to show up to the game 2 hours early because of a TSA level screening. No bags allowed at all. Vibes were wrecked. He got booed. He fell asleep.
And the second best option behind Knicks in 4 is Knicks in 5, and they lose the game the Trump attempts.
I was obviously Knicks in 4ing the whole time, but once he lost, I was like, okay, we have unlocked the funniest timeline, which is our little version of the Ted Cruz curse. And it's just, we win every single game except for the one that he was at, to make another baseball reference with Ted Cruz. The Houston Astros always lose when he shows up to games. To the point where people are like, do not come to our games, Ted.
Well, for many reasons, that should be how people feel.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was just such a weird thing that happened. All of the stuff that happened around MSG, the security measures were absurd. It was just bizarre.
And you made a really good point that I think is worth repeating for anyone who missed it on Patreon, which is that part of what's been so special about this, what we were talking about before, is that people of all walks of life, of all beliefs, of all religions, in New York and really around the country have come together to embrace this team, right? And that's part of what's so special about sports. And what has made it even more special is that in very divided times, it is this unifying thing where you all kind of intellectually know, like, yeah, I don't agree with everybody in this room about everything else, but what we do agree on is that we really want the Knicks to win. But then with Trump being there, there's a situation where they show him on the Jumbotron during the national anthem. Some people boo, some people cheer, and then you kind of clock who's sitting around you and being like, oh man, the lady in front of me is like a huge Trump fan. Like that kind of sucks. So immediate vibes being off before the tip-off has even happened.
That's my big theory that I've been saying, and I really stand by it, is just if you see someone in the crowd having the opposite reaction to how you feel about Trump, you think, fuck that person. And then you just find ways to get upset. And this is something that, it was funny when I was at the Game 2 watch party, there was someone in front of me who kept standing up, like when you stand up for excitement. She stood up so much. Like, I understand standing up for a 3 that's about to go in or after a big play, but she would stand up like when a foul was called. And I was getting frustrated because it kept being hard to see the screen. Then Kelly came and then, she stood up and I was like, oh, this woman keeps standing up the whole time. And Kelly's like, yeah, it's a sporting event. Like, that's what people do. And she kind of like snapped me out of it. She's like, you were probably grumpy because the Knicks were losing in the first half. She's having fun. Like, so what? And then when my dad and I were at Game 4, we got yelled at by the guy one row behind us while the Knicks were like losing by a ton. He told us like, hey, you guys can stand when everybody else stands, but like we're trying to watch the game. And my dad made the great point. How are we supposed to know when everybody else stands? We're in the front row of the 200 section. We cannot see. Like, I'm not going to turn around to check. But then by the end of the game, we were hugging and shaking hands and we like completely made amends and it was completely fine. But yeah, if you're going into that knowing like, oh, I don't like some of the people sitting near me, everything they do will piss you off. You'll be like, oh, that MAGA idiot is standing. That MAGA idiot, it keeps going in and out to go to the bathroom and they're like standing up and everybody in the row has to stand and I can't see what's going on. Like everything they do is going to piss you off. And I think that contributed to the vibes. Just like universally unbiased people, reporters, media people were all saying like vibes at Game 3, not good. Vibes at Game 4, which I can confirm, elite. Elite.
And basketball wise, I mean, Game 3 was really just another game where the Knicks were down by a good amount. They did end up chipping away, but couldn't quite get over the hump.
Could never quite get it. And the officiating again was the tail of it, but in a different sense. And in Game 2, it felt like all of the actual like small calls were going for the Spurs. In Game 3, it didn't feel that way. It was just like these big things that didn't go the Knicks' way. So there was this thing where Wemby pushes Jalen Brunson's head from behind and then laughs at him, not called a flagrant foul. Insane. Then there was a part where Stephon Castle just like bum rushes Jalen Brunson.
He ran through him like a football player, sad football reference, like blocking. Extended his forearm.
It happened in the Spurs Thunder series, and it was called a flagrant. And it's like, okay, this exact same thing happened. There's clearly precedent. And didn't do that.
Foreshadowing to Game 5, Jalen Brunson was called for a flagrant foul on a, quote, reckless closeout.
Very light, soft
which
call.
Was, not to me, not the right call. They reviewed it. They upheld it. And then that was not enforced when Wemby did it multiple times, the most egregious of which was in Game 5, which
did it to Josh Hardy.
And we'll never know, but if the NBA had reviewed it, should have absolutely been a flagrant, which would have meant he would be suspended for Game 6, and God knows what that drama would have been.
Right. For anyone unaware, there's a thing, it's basically flagrant foul points. There's 2 levels of flagrant foul, flagrant 1 and flagrant 2. Flagrant 2 gets you automatically ejected. Flagrant 1 does not. If you get 2 flagrant 1s, you're ejected. And flagrant 1, there's like technical terms, but it's basically like unsportsmanlike and excessive contact. And flagrant 2 is like unsportsmanlike, excessive, and intent to harm. Yeah, like you're trying to hurt someone, not just like a dirty kind of play, or like really dirty. And if you accumulate 4 of those points, so 4 flagrant 1s, 2 flagrant 2s, then you get suspended for a game. And Wemby had 2 because he elbowed Naz Reid in the neck, and that was a flagrant 2. And then he was given a flagrant 1 in Game 4 for Karl Anthony Towns. So going into Game 5, if he had gotten another flagrant foul, then he would have been suspended. And that's what people are saying. They didn't upgrade the Jalen Brunson push even when they looked at it after the game. And everyone was like, oh, they didn't upgrade it because then he would have 3 points. Even though it was like pretty obviously a flagrant. He also had a play in Game 2 where he like grabbed Jose Alvarado by the neck and like tried to throw him to the ground. Like just like really weird stuff. So the Game 3 thing was more of like there were these big calls that didn't go the Knicks way. And then Game 4, I was there. Shout out to Kelly, the wizard of Ticketmaster, for getting me into the spot where I could get face value tickets, which were still very expensive, but way cheaper than resale. After we struck out on 5 previous Ticketmaster random
go ahead,
number
give it like
things.
A condensed version of that.
The shortest version of this is basically, and this is another thing of drama, the normal thing that happens for ticket sales for the playoffs is that earlier, like once it's set that your team is going to make the next round, sometimes even before, they will let people who had season tickets buy their own seats. And then there's a deadline. It's like, you have until this time to buy your seats, and they cost more than regular. And if you don't buy them, we're going to let them go public. So the Knicks had done that for the finals. But the normal thing is that, like, usually when the other team is there and the dates are set and everything, then you do the general sale. Spurs did this, Knicks did not. So then games 1 and 2 go by, and then the Knicks only then, with like 2 days to go, start selling the game 3 tickets. So by that time, like, the resale ticket prices had just really gone up because the Knicks are up 2-0. There's no new supply and the demand keeps going. And if anyone's taken economics at all, you understand how that works. So the prices were astronomical. At their peak, it got to be like $10,000 to go to game 3 and $15,000 to go to game 4. They finally start releasing the general tickets and the resale prices go down, but they did like 3 smaller, kind of like if you try to go to a concert, random number, join the queue 15 minutes before thing. And Kelly and my dad and I and you and your girlfriend, see, like, we had a whole team trying to get us tickets. We struck out on all 3 of the game 3 ones, came really close a couple of the times. And then game 4 struck out on the first 2. And then the third one, they didn't do the queue thing. They just, at 10:05, opened up tickets, and Kelly happened to hit refresh at the right moment, and we got the front row of the second deck, which is like really great. That was similar to the seats you and I had when we went to that Knicks Wizards game this season, and it's just like a really cool situation. You get such a clear view of the court. Like, it's just really nice. You still get the energy. It was really fun. Really enjoyed those seats. So shout out to Kelly there. But yeah, game 4, the thing was like, again, the refereeing was really bad, and I was like thinking that wasn't going to happen because so much of the media drama around the series thus far was like, man, it really seems like the refs want the Spurs to win. And I think the NBA at that point didn't want that to be a talking point. And the calls were just absurd being there live. It truly sucked. And it was never because I was thinking about the dollars spent. It was just because my dad had flown up from Texas, which took a lot of effort. My mom and my dad had to reschedule lots of different things. They had to get on a flight, all this stuff, so that we could go to these games. And I was just like, oh, I don't want like the takeaway from this trip to be, oh, we went through all this effort and then we went to this game where we lost by 30 points and it was frustrating. If we just like got the doors blown off us because the Spurs played well, which they did in the first half, that's one thing.
Yeah, they did hit a lot of threes and everything. But
yeah, but then there's just like the 2 calls on Karl-Anthony Towns within the first minute of the game to get him in foul trouble were both really soft, and that sucked. And then there were weird calls where like there were challenges that either were overturned for the Spurs or not overturned for us, and then just like strange things that got reviewed and weird fouls here and out of bounds there and technical this and flagrant that. And it was just like, it was just the energies kept getting sucked out of the room. The Spurs would take timeouts anytime we got any sort of run going, which is the point of the timeouts. And it was just like, you could feel the oxygen sapped out of the room. And we were down 27 going into halftime. The Wu-Tang Clan then performed, and Method Man said Knicks in 5, and he doesn't speak any lies. Wu-Tang Clan is and always has been nothing to fuck with.
Right.
And then we get down even further in the third quarter. We're down by 29, and then just we start coming back. And I just knew this team could do it. We were down 22 points with 7 minutes to go in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The whole time I was like, there's so much time. We're going to be fine.
Yeah, and it felt like both with this game and with the Cleveland game, which was less points but made up in like a smaller window of time, it does feel like impossible that they could have done that on the road. Like, not that they didn't come back on the road also, but the Knicks, you just said that like when the Knicks cut the lead from, I don't know, 29
to 25,
it was like the biggest
I've
crowd
ever
pop you've ever experienced. Yeah.
Yes, and I've been to a handful of games at the Garden. I guess a big handful. I've been to a lot of games.
A Wemby handful.
Yeah, Wemby handful. George Marathon handful. To hear how loud it was when we cut it from 29 to 25 was so cool. That one thing was cool enough where I was like, if we lose, I will take this away as like the cool moment worth the ticket price of like, that's such a unique experience. Right. And this was what a lot of reporters people who were at Game 1 said. Bill Simmons most famously was just saying like, you could feel that the crowd was like waiting for this comeback to happen. And in the other game, it was like once they cut it to 15, the crowd was like, we're doing this. Because our team has done this all year. Like the tale of this Knicks was during the season was like, we would get down by a bunch of points and then win, and it was stressful. Like watching Knicks games this season was like exhausting.
Yeah.
It's just like tough on the heart.
Yeah.
So when we cut it from 29 to 25, like it was so loud and everyone was ready for it. And it was such a good crowd. Everyone was so amped up. Like at one of these points when we were down this much, we just like started a let's go Knicks cheer to like will the team. Like you usually get big defense cheers like after something cool happens offensively. This was like we did something bad and like we let up like an open three, and then the arena was just like, no, we're gonna do a let's go Knicks thing. And it just worked. And then we just little by little, and then the loudest it was the whole night, that just to give the perspective there, the loudest it was the entire night was not the OG winning tip in. It was not after the final buzzer where like the comeback was complete. It was booing Victor Wembanyama when he shot those 2 free throws / after he missed them. We were booing him so loud, so loudly. We booed him during pregame warmups when he was just shooting free throws before the game started, and that was a great omen. And then when he was taking those free throws with a couple minutes left, booed him so loud he missed both, and just that was the loudest the Garden was. And we'll get into this, but like the villainy of Victor Wembanyama, which I did not anticipate happening because he seemed like a perfectly normal, nice, I guess not even normal, like he seemed uniquely nice.
Well, it's hilarious that we started the season with talking about how he was like working on mindfulness with monks, and then we ended up being like, this guy's unhinged and we don't like him anymore.
No, and like I'm on record either on this podcast or just talking about basketball saying like it's good that this guy is so likable, because for someone to be a human cheat code just being like this big is like boring. Like I don't like watching him play basketball. It's not fun. It looks like someone playing on a Nerf hoop. Like it's not entertaining.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was like, at least this guy's like really nice and he's not afraid to show emotion. And now it's like, oh, this guy sucks. And I am very excited. We'll see how he changes. He's very young. He's 22.
Whenever the Spurs play at the Garden next year, that's going to be electric.
I am. There's a couple of games circled on my calendar. And now that I've paid, and I'll just say it, now that I've paid $3,600 for a ticket, which is an insane amount of money, I fully understand, but I very intentionally bought 0 Knicks tickets this year. The only game I went to for free. I very intentionally, when we had the shots in the finals, I was like, I'm not buying a ticket so that I can justify a finals ticket. I could not get it cheaper than $3,600, physically impossible. So when it's compared to staring down the barrel, the seats in our row on resale markets were going for $7,000, $8,000, and $13,500. So like, by comparison, phenomenal. I've also been like incredibly frugal. Like I'm trying to nickel and dime anything that I can do to be like, chip away that. But now that I've paid that, it's like, okay, I'm going to the Spurs Knicks game because there's only one in MSG unless we rematch in the finals. I'm going to that game. I want to go to the like when they raise the banner game, like those tickets are going to be very expensive, but I am going to those games. Yeah. And I'm not usually I'm going to those games guy, but I've also not been part of a championship team before.
Right.
But I mean the comeback with game 4 was really cool. It was the energy was awesome. And then game 5, it was just again the belief. The comeback was there. Not really a frustrating ref game, which was cool.
Well, I disagree though, because the Wemby,
I was going to say, aside from that, which was like, aside from the Zaza Pachulia putting his foot under Kawhi Leonard's shot, which sparked this being a flagrant foul, like that literally is why this rule exists. Yeah. Aside from that one, I don't know that I've ever seen a more intentional thing. Like in the moment, I was like, he put his leg in a weird direction. And then now there's videos where it's like, you can see he's looking at Jalen Brunson's foot. He like double checks, like he does a double take and then moves his foot over, like, and he gets a lot of his foot under Jalen. And he seemed to
almost be cocky knowing that like the NBA wasn't going to do anything to him.
Yeah. It was.
He's the golden boy now. He might be the new LeBron in terms of just getting calls all the time. And look, I want to believe it wasn't intentional, but you've got a size 20 shoe. You know where Brunson's going to land. And the more miraculous thing to me that no one's talking about that gets lost in all of this is like, that looked like it could have been a horrible injury. Like he did turn his ankle really badly, limped around for 20 seconds, and then just balled out again and ended up scoring 45 points, which tied Michael Jordan for I think the most points ever in a closeout game or something like that.
Game. Yeah. Just absurd. Yeah, maybe close out playoffs, at least close out finals. It was a really bad play. And from some podcasts that I've been listening to, people are saying the consensus is like the NBA probably would have given him the flagrant foul and all this kind of stuff. I was joking in the championship celebration, and even this morning when I was hanging out with our buddy Doug Lusk, because I was in the final video of this season, which was really fun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was joking with people like, oh, I'm looking forward to the Shams tweet saying that Victor Wembanyama's flagrant has been upgraded and he will miss game 1 of next season.
Well, but that's what makes it so satisfying that the Knicks closed it out last night, was that, like, if they didn't, then they would have been coming back to New York to play on Tuesday. But there's a decent chance that Wemby wouldn't have played. And then you're kind of screwed either way. Like, if you win, then people are like, oh, well, you only won because Wemby's out. And if you lose, then it makes it that much more miraculous. And then you have to go back to a Game 7 in San Antonio with Wemby playing. So thank God they closed it out last night. I'm also extremely grateful because I was out of town for games 2 and 4, and I would have been out of town for a potential game 6 and 7. So to be in New York, to be watching in New York, we like ended up walking down pretty much like 44th and 8th, and then that's when it got to a point where we're like, I think that's enough.
Yep.
This is great, but I think we're right at the cusp of where we should not.
That's kind of how
south.
we approached it, and I'll tell the full story. But like, yeah, I was also stressing for game 6 because my dad and mom had planned to fly out Monday, just because they couldn't stay as long. Not that they were like, we're going to win in 4 or 5, but like didn't want to not have to watch with them, or my parents have to decide if they want to extend their flights. Kelly and I had plans for Tuesday night. We had tickets to a Broadway show, and we had a babysitter. We were like, our babysitter's going to cancel on us to watch Game 6. I was like, I don't want to have to like sit with the worry of like, should I go to the game? Like, the watch party that I did for Game 5 was like absolutely beautiful. We watched on the river deck at Pier 17, which is just like this beautiful outdoor lawn space right on the water. You can see the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was like outdoors, gorgeous weather, big screen, good sound system. You could bring in whatever food and beer you wanted. People didn't care. Like the crowd itself there was really nice. Everyone was being really nice. No one was like stepping on each other. Everyone was like squeezing to make room, but not like getting too cramped. We all sat until the last 5 minutes. Then everyone stood. Like, it was just, and it was like a big crowd. It was really fun. And I was like, I don't want to have to like do something else for Game 6.
I was so invested that I was prepared to forego going to Wrigley Field because I'm going to be in Chicago Monday through Thursday. And I was like, if there's a Game 6, I love the Cubs, but I would rather be at a bar watching Game 6 than at Wrigley watching a somewhat mediocre Cubs team.
Yeah. So that was added to the stress of just like wanting the stress of the win, was just like life stress, was like, it would just be so much nicer if we win this game. And thankfully we did. And then, yeah, it was so cool being there. I watched the game with my dad, my buddy Johnny, best man at my wedding, who is like a neutral basketball observer, but has gotten like really locked in to the Knicks the past couple of years. So he came through, and then my buddy Sonny and his friend, and Sonny and I went to college together, and we just have this like ongoing Facebook Messenger thread that goes back to 2014, started by Sonny going, oh my God, I didn't know you were a Knicks fan. I need someone to, like vent about this team with. And just for years, this thread, we would just like message each other when the NBA draft lottery didn't go our way, or when we made bad trades or bad signings and stuff like that. So we just had this like very depressing, like coping message thread. And then only in the past couple of years, it's been like a holy shit, we're good thread. Yeah. And he came into town. He grew up in New York, so he came into town from DC just to like ring in the finals, hopefully. And watching with him was awesome too. Like, it was such a perfect setup. And then after we won, the 5 of us just walked over, because we're in like the southernmost part of Manhattan in the Wall Street area. We just walked over to Broadway Street and then walked north up Broadway for an hour. We walked from
just hearing people honking and yelling at cars.
Like we walked all the way south from the southern part of Manhattan all the way to Union Square, which was like an hour walk. And it was just, at no point did we get into any of those like big clumps, which was intentional on all of our parts. Like, my dad's in his late 60s. Like, I'm getting up there. I have a kid to go home to, like not trying to get into that mess. But it was just such a good vibe of like, we would pass other clumps of 5 friends and everybody would high five. And then people are driving by honking horns and like taxi drivers are honking horns and like people are screaming out of windows. And it was just like little pockets of joy spread out across Manhattan for an hour. And it was so cool. And like I was saying earlier, just like the diversity of high fives that I gave to people, like shirtless dude bros in short shorts, like preppy shorts, girls in like I'm going to the club after this dresses, old people, young people, people wearing jerseys, people wearing just like Knicks shirts that they clearly bought yesterday, like just the most beautiful vibe, like high five in MTA workers, construction workers, bus drivers. Like it was so sick. Like,
I mean, other than cool maybe when Biden won the election in 2020 and New York was celebrating, I can't think of anything like this. But even then, like, yes, New York's a liberal city, but I don't know, 30 to 35% of people were probably pissed off that day. That wasn't the case last night.
No. Oh my gosh, there was one guy yelling at his window who must have been a Spurs fan. He was screaming out saying, your jersey looks really clean, which I thought meant like fresh. And then Johnny had to say like, oh, he's trying to imply that like you've recently purchased this jersey. And I was like, oh, well, I did recently purchase this current one that I'm wearing, but also you, Johnny, are wearing a shirt that I've had for like, it's I gifted it to Johnny. It's like, keep this, because he didn't have any Knicks shirt. And I was like, I got an extra one for you. And it's a shirt that I've had since 2012 that I bought it as a small, but it's like a yarn shirt. So like over time it's gotten looser and looser. And Johnny wears a large. I was like, this will fit you because I've worn this like in this week and it's way too big. Like that's how old.
That's just people being salty. I remember the
but like
same
aside
thing.
from literally one dude alone in his apartment yelling out of a window, it was just like so euphoric. And then just like you're saying, we got to Union Square, which is this big park, and that was like people jump up and down, you know, going all this stuff, people climbing up light poles, and we all just like watched it from across the street, hugged, you could see the Empire State Building doing the blue and orange dancing lights, which it did all night, which was very cool. And then we all went down and took our different trains, whether it be to Long Island or to Grand Central or over to Queens. Like it was such a cool way to ring it in. And then my dad and I just had our little walk home to our apartment. It was cool. We popped into a grocery store to buy ice cream and then popped out. There was this one thing, we walked by a bar where a guy who clearly was not a Knicks fan was like, he was trying to get in and he was asking like, are you guys still open? And the bouncer outside was like, yeah, man, the Knicks won. It's a party. And he was like, yeah, go Knicks, in like a non-convincing way. And the bouncer was like, you're not a fucking Knicks fan. And they like laughed about it. And then I walked up and I was like, I am, let's fucking go. We like high five, dapped it up like 5 times in a row. It was so funny. Like just an electric vibe, just screaming Knicks and 5 to everyone. Carried into this morning. It's going to carry in forever. Like it's just.
Yeah, the parade's on Thursday.
Parade's on Thursday, gonna be insane. Like I think New York always has this like one set route for champions. I don't think the route is big enough. Like it's not.
They need to just go in a
enough.
loop around Manhattan all day.
They need to like circumvent Manhattan. Like they should extend it. I know tradition's tradition, but like I don't think it's big enough. But I'll be there.
Yeah,
just wild. But yeah, I think aside from all the joy, which I think we've very much talked about, we hinted at it, but I think Victor Wembanyama absolutely fumbled the bag in terms of being like the face of the NBA, which is like they wanted it. They wanted him to be this cool, likable alien that could bring in new viewers of like, there's a 7'5" guy, whatever. And I get he's 22, so it's like unfair pressure. However, LeBron had a similar thing. Like he made the finals at a very young age when it was Cavs Spurs and they got wrecked. And it's not like he, you know, got all grumpy and didn't shake people's hands. Like Wemby obviously had the unsportsmanlike stuff with the flagrant fouls and everything, but leaving the court immediately was a bad look, especially in contrast to Jalen Brunson, who bypassed his own coaches to shake the hand of the Spurs head coach Mitch Johnson before celebrating with his own father. He walked past his own father to shake the hand of the opposing coach. I think that was just like a big contrast. Wemby, like,
he stormed out of his press conference, I think, as well.
Yeah, like dropped the mic, made some weird comment, like, "See you never." At no point,
what is he
credited
8?
the Knicks? I don't know. At no point credited the Knicks. Had like one thing where he said a nice thing about Brunson, but like it just made it about him and like saying that the Spurs failed, kind of like a we lost, they didn't win kind of thing. And it was just like just many turns, many opportunities, every single one just bad. And I've gone from, I think this guy's a nice guy, to I will be a lifelong Victor Wembanyama hater. Kind of looking forward to it, but
it could be fun. Yeah,
it could be fun.
Well,
could
and
be
listen,
fun.
The NBA maybe is in a tough spot with that, because whenever LeBron retires, like, people are already annoyed by SGA. Like, that's a thing currently, and now I think a lot of people don't like Wemby, and for good reason. So
Giannis has not done himself any favors with all this weird, like, forcing his way out of the Bucks stuff. Jokic, it doesn't really work because he doesn't seem like he likes basketball that much. Can I submit Jalen Brunson? Like,
yeah, sure.
Worked his way, scrappy underdog.
Yeah.
No one believed him in. Like, literally, we're going into the finals. He's willed this team into making it to the finals, and people are like, I don't think he's gonna win. Like,
Still,
at literally every stage. So much doubt. Like, why not Jalen Brunson, the face of the league? Let kids look up and be like, hey, I can be short and good. Like, come on.
Sure.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I've been saying this over and over again. I wish he was a star when I was a kid. I would have emulated his play style so hard.
You heard the radio call, right?
Not yet. I literally saw like the headline being Knicks radio announcers get emotional, and I haven't checked it out yet. So I'm going to
maybe we can insert the audio, or I'll share a link to it. But the final line. What is his name again? The radio guy.
Tyler Murray. I've tried to get him on Horse. I'm gonna have to try to get him on again. Yeah. I don't think he like checks his Instagram DMs.
But Tyler Murray ends it by saying, "The team that proved that no lead was too big and no guard is too small."
Oh, dude. He thought of that in the shower and was like, God, I hope we win.
Yeah. There's literally a fan like high-fiving Monica during, like, while she's on mic. He's still like going in for a pound. It was just, it's great.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Other things to really quick touch on. Speaking of Monica, Taylor Swift, as I predicted with the help of Kelly,
good call.
Showed
no
up.
Leo. Yes, Taylor.
Yes, Taylor. I thought Leo was going to be there, and I was really excited for you because Game 4, Taylor Swift was there. I was there. I had a great view of Taylor. I was opposite from her and the Haim sisters.
Well, people are talking about how good of a view of you she had.
Sure, and they should be. But anyone clowning Taylor Swift for being a fake fan is a fake fan. She was courtside often during our 2014-2015 season where we went 17-65. Taylor's a real one. And people are like, oh, she was at the Cavs game rooting when it was Cavs Knicks, rooting for the Cavs. No, her fiance is a huge Cavs fan, and she showed up in all black. I would have loved if she showed up in Knicks stuff, but she showed up in all black and then, didn't get happy when the Cavs did well and then laughed when the Knicks won. I feel like she was maybe trying to, like, not make a whole thing where it's like, oh, Taylor and Travis Kelce are at ends. Like, no. So she's a Knicks fan. Everyone thinks she's not, is a fake fan. Or at least just uneducated on the situation, like Monica McNutt.
Plus, it is her wedding venue, allegedly. Although I think that's...
I love the theories. I think they're really fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's real, but it's a fun theory. But yeah, Monica was on a hot mic and said, like, Taylor's not a fan. Get her off the screen. And then she fessed up to it. She was like, I didn't realize she was a fan. Like, granted, it was 12 years ago when she was going to the games, when she was like living in New York and doing a lot of New York stuff. So she apologized for it. But
that's smart. I thought, you don't want to get the Swifties on.
No, not at all. And I thought Leo was going to be there because they showed a clip, and they always show clips before there's just celebrities. They showed a clip from Wolf of Wall Street, and I thought it meant Leo was there, but it was just like the thing where he says like, I'm not effing leaving, and hype people up. It was just to hype the crowd up. But I was like, oh my gosh, Adam and I are almost both right.
We were right about. I think I'd have to go back and check, but I'm pretty sure. Well, I know that you said Knicks in 4, and I'm pretty sure I said Knicks in 6. So. Knicks in 5
we split the difference. Yeah, it's been fun. It's also cool just like screaming Knicks in 5 all the way on the walk north and even into this morning. It's fun that every other series was not 5, so that like the chant of the finals can be Knicks in 5 because everyone just kept being Knicks in 4, Knicks in 4. So we all know that Knicks in 5 means.
I was on the subway last night, headed to the bar where I watched the game, and this woman started singing an impromptu song called Knicks in 5 that was unbelievably good. It was one of those New York things where it's like, oh, so is everyone on this subway just like secretly super talented? But yeah, it was pretty great, and I think she was onto something.
Yeah. So it's just awesome. I'm gonna be talking about this for so long. Get ready for every episode of Horse we do to just be about this.
I hope that you become as annoying as I have become about the 2016 Cubs.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, and I'm just gonna do this. Like, my Percy Jackson podcast is gonna become like very Knicks coded from here on out. Like, it's just gonna be incessant. Mm-hmm. And the good thing is, I have earned it. As I posted on Instagram, I got 63 text messages when they won. Infinitely more than when not infinitely more, but like significantly more than when I posted proposal photos or wedding photos or photos that we had a baby. 63 is definitely the record of unchecked messages for me. Amazing. It was really cool. It's really fun. It's awesome. Yeah. It doesn't feel real, but like it still feels real enough where I'm really happy about it. And then it's just only going to get better. And it's just really cool. I was so cool that I got to experience it with my dad. Like that's the coolest thing of it. Just like being there with him for the in-person game and the watch party ripped. And my dad made a very fun comment where we were celebrating. He's like, "Do you think I'm the only person here who was alive for the other championships?" Because it's 50 plus years ago. And then we high-fived an old woman. And I was like, she was alive too. It was good. Yeah, it's been really cool.
It was awesome.
I really appreciate all the like my friends in my life, and then also just like listeners and people who I know from like internet stuff and podcasting interacting. Like, it's just been really cool. I really appreciate all the messages.
Of course. Yeah. Well, it is something that you and millions of other New Yorkers and New York fans will not soon forget.
No. And I look forward to in the future when my daughter's a Knicks fan, where I can tell her that before I left for game 4, she said, "Baby, come too," when I was saying goodbye. And
so cute.
It's absolutely adorable and heart crushing because like would have absolutely loved to, but the game starts past your bedtime.
Yeah, unless she wanted for there to be a significant hit into her college fund. I think Baby Come Too was not happening.
Well, she's under 3, so she would have just been sitting on my lap. Her ticket would have been free, but it was more that the game started at 8:30 and her bedtime is 8.
Fair.
So that's not going to happen.
Amazing.
Oh man. Whew. All right, we've been talking long enough. We'll do another hour on me vibing about the Knicks. This is just the horse for the horse. This is the podcast for the foreseeable future.
Did you cry yesterday?
I got like really teared up and stuff, but I didn't actually cry because it was just like, it was more jubilation and shock. I think if it was one of those finals where like we're up by a lot and they're like subbing people out and stuff, I would have cried. I kind of cried. I was also sweating. So it's hard to like, I at least like got to a couple of like choked up kind of things where like effectively crying, but like
I was getting choked up watching other people crying.
Yeah.
Like that was getting me.
Yeah. I think there's just like more joy and relief.
Sure.
That and again, similar to game 4, after game 4, I was just like laughing. I just laughed after game 4 because it was so unbelievable. Yeah. And another cool thing that we talked about on Patreon, but I hear was that game 4, they just like played music and it was the best karaoke bar. Like no one left and we just sang songs for 30 minutes and that was really cool. But yeah, I just laughed after game 4 and I think it was just like kind of disbelief. I think I was too shocked to cry. But it was really cool. It was really cool. It was unique. It was strange. It didn't feel real. It still kind of doesn't. Who knows, man? Just awesome. Knicks in 5, baby.
Incredible.
Double champion, 2026 double champion New York Knicks. We've done it.
What a season.
What a season. And now we can fuck off forever.
As the prophecy foretold.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Horror Sources, hosted by Adam Amwala and Mike Schubert. This episode was edited by Mike Schubert. The music is by Bettina Campamanes. The art's by Allison Wakeman. The website's by Aurelia Lieb. And the social media is by both of the Horse Boys.
Thank you to our producer little patrons, Polly Burridge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed. Steph Curry got a $400 million shoe deal.
Bang.
Chase Underulo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby is a Vampire, Chelsea's Cousin, Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, Mats Furley, Utah Jash, and Derry Bird. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Horse Hoops and on Twitter at Horse_Hoops because...
Horse Hoops is run by anyone who has ever talked shit to me about the Knicks. If you've ever said a mean thing about the Knicks to me, get fucked.
You can go to our website at horsehoops.com for links to the many things we've talked about today, including some Knicks content and some Stacey King content as well.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to support the Horse Boys, head on over to patreon.com/horsehoops. Check it out. You can see the video version of this episode. The video Patreon stuff that we did was like 45 minutes recapping games 2 through 4. And then we have the one about game 1 as well. Check it out. Support us. And you can also go to horsehoops.com/merch if you want some cool digital merch. That is also a way to support us. But we're going to put our hands in the middle and say something on the count of 3. How do we ring this one in?
All right,
we did it on 3. What do we got?
I've been thinking about this, and I think I've got the perfect way to bridge the Knicks winning and a final remembrance for the late, great Stacey King. So Stacey King's big catchphrase that he would say to talk about Derrick Rose was, too big, too strong, too fast, too good. Now, too big doesn't really make sense for Jalen Brunson, but we're going to hit him with a too small, too strong, too fast, too good. And then either Knicks in 5 or we did it.
We did it. I think we did it. All right. So it's too small, too strong, too fast, too good?
Yep.
Sweet. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3.
Too small, too strong, too fast, too good.
Knicks
we
in
did
5.
it!
We did it!
You did it! I'm going to say we. I'll use the royal we.
I'm
involved.
Everyone on the bandwagon. Everybody in Newark, get in.
There's plenty of
Everybody
room.
get in.
The water's
We're having
warm.
fun. Come on in. Everybody get on board. I'm so pro bandwagon. Everybody get in here.